Landman Season 2 didn't just mishandle Ainsley Norris, it fundamentally misunderstood her. What once felt like a grounded, observant, emotionally intelligent young character has been rewritten into someone who consistently misses obvious cues, makes avoidable mistakes, and reacts rather than thinks. The result isn't a realistic portrayal of youth or inexperience. It's a version of Ainsley that feels artificially dumbed down to serve weak storytelling choices. When Ainsley was first introduced, she stood out precisely because she wasn't written as clueless. She was perceptive in quiet ways. She noticed tension in rooms before adults acknowledged it. She understood when people were lying, avoiding responsibility, or hiding behind authority. That didn't make her wise beyond her years. It made her believable. She felt like a kid who had grown up too close to adult problems and learned to read the world carefully as a survival skill. Season 2 abandons that foundation almost immediately. Instead of building on Ainsley's emotional intelligence, the show repeatedly places her in situations where she lacks basic awareness. She overlooks red flags that are impossible to miss. She fails to ask simple questions that would clarify her circumstances. She stumbles into conflicts with no foresight and then seems shocked by outcomes that were obvious from the start. This isn't growth through failure. It's a rewrite that strips her of the instincts she was already shown to have. The college storyline exposes this problem more than anything else. College should have been a natural evolution for Ainsley, a space where her awareness is tested, where independence forces her to apply what she already knows in unfamiliar environments. Instead, the show treats college as an excuse to reset her intelligence level. Suddenly, she doesn't understand social dynamics. She doesn't recognize manipulation. She doesn't set boundaries. She just reacts, over and over again, to situations she should be navigating with far more clarity. Her roommate situation is a perfect example of how lazy this writing choice feels. Ainsley repeatedly tolerates behavior that is disrespectful, inconsiderate, and clearly escalating. Season 1 Ainsley would have clocked the problem instantly, named it internally if not out loud, and adjusted her approach. Season 2 Ainsley just absorbs the chaos until it explodes. The show mistakes passivity for realism, when in reality it's just avoidance of character work. What makes this especially frustrating is that Ainsley's background makes her regression unbelievable. She grew up around financial instability, power struggles, and adult hypocrisy. She watched people rationalize bad decisions and deal with the fallout. Kids raised in environments like that don't become oblivious overnight. They become hyper-aware. They may not always act correctly, but they almost always understand what's happening. Yet Season 2 treats Ainsley as if she's never seen conflict before. Even her family interactions feel hollowed out. Where she once asked sharp questions and challenged the adults around her, she now accepts vague answers and moves on. The show no longer lets her push back. She exists to react emotionally instead of engaging intellectually, which makes her feel smaller and less relevant to the broader story. This isn't an accident. It's a symptom of Landman Season 2's larger problem. The show has lost narrative discipline. It's juggling too many tones, too many subplots, and too many characters without a clear hierarchy. When that happens, characters like Ainsley become tools instead of people. Her intelligence is inconvenient because it would slow the plot down. A smarter Ainsley would ask questions the story doesn't want to answer. So the solution becomes simple: make her not notice. But audiences feel that shortcut immediately. Viewers aren't frustrated because Ainsley struggles. They're frustrated because the struggles don't feel earned. There's a difference between a character making a bad choice and a character being written to not understand their own situation. One invites empathy. The other creates distance. There's also an uncomfortable pattern in how Ainsley is written compared to male characters. Men in Landman are allowed to be wrong while still being competent. Their mistakes are framed as arrogance, ambition, or pressure-driven misjudgment. Ainsley's mistakes are framed as ignorance. She's not choosing poorly, she just doesn't know better. That framing quietly strips her of agency. This matters because Ainsley is supposed to represent the future of this world. She's the next generation dealing with the consequences of decisions made by people like Tommy and Cammy. If she's written as incapable of understanding those consequences, the show undercuts its own themes. The generational angle collapses. The future stops feeling meaningful. What's most disappointing is how easily this could have been avoided. Ainsley didn't need to be perfect. She could be overwhelmed. She could hesitate. She could make mistakes. But she should be aware of what's happening to her. Awareness is the difference between a smart character struggling and a dumb character flailing. Season 2 repeatedly denies her that awareness. Instead of letting Ainsley drive her own arc, the show lets circumstances happen to her. She becomes reactive instead of proactive. Scenes don't unfold because of her choices. They unfold around her while she absorbs the impact. Over time, that flattens her into background noise, even when she's physically present. This writing choice also robs the audience of emotional payoff. Watching a perceptive character navigate difficulty is compelling because growth feels intentional. Watching a character stumble blindly through avoidable problems is exhausting. There's no sense of progression, just repetition. Ainsley Norris deserved continuity. She deserved to feel like the same person, shaped by new experiences rather than erased by them. Landman Season 2 didn't just miswrite her, it erased what made her matter. If the show wants to fix this, it needs to stop confusing youth with ignorance. Ainsley doesn't need to be sheltered to be young. She doesn't need to be clueless to be vulnerable. Letting her be smart doesn't weaken the drama, it strengthens it. Because the real problem isn't that Ainsley makes mistakes. It's that Landman Season 2 stopped trusting her intelligence, and in doing so, underestimated its audience right along with her.